Hello, everyone. I hope everything is well, and thank you very much for joining today's webinar. My name is Luis. I'm happy to lead this webinar on how combining AI and manual moderation can foster respectful engagement and safe online communities, and the most important, how to reduce operational costs, right? On this webinar, we also have invited Italo, which is our senior engineering at Social Plus. And Italo, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, Luis. Happy to be here. Nice to see everybody, and nice to be part of this session. I think it's going to be very interesting. And well, as Luis mentioned, the idea is to help reduce operational inefficiency as well as provide different tools that will help for sure raise engagement and also attract different type of users.
Hi, Brendan. Thank you very much for joining. We wanted to make it this very engaging kind of webinar. So I wanted to start with something that you already know, that not long ago, a well-known community faced a strong crisis, right, when user safety was compromised. This was very much a global news. And this incident really highlight the importance of effective moderation. And today we are here to discuss how creating safe spaces, integrating AI and manual moderation for enhanced community engagement. So welcome everyone, and let's dive into today's agenda. What we're going to do is to, first of all, understand all the role of the manual moderation in community oversight, then understand what are the types of moderations that are already in the market and what is the benefits from them, dual advantage of moderation for engagement and cost reduction. Then we're going to go forward into balancing user engagement and safety. And lately, we're going to show you real examples of how companies that are using social features, social plus, they are also using our moderation capabilities, and how we have developed these strong moderation capabilities to really power and to sustain the communities, to build really positive communities. Italo, first question, and I think I would also do this question not for you only, but also for the audience that it is over there. What is moderation? What do you understand by moderation?
Well, from our side or from my perspective, it's not only about controlling content, to say it like that, but also to generate a context regarding what you want your users or your community to see.
Totally. I would say also that moderation is really the backbone of every positive community, right? It's the backbone of every social media network that we have, as social media platforms, as internal media companies, right? Why? Because I do believe that it involves the process of managing and overseeing user interactions, right, with online communities. We have seen in the past years how hate of speech, also fake news, they have come here into online communities, platforms, and digital spaces. So we really need to ensure that the environment remains safe, that remains respectful, and remains really aligned with the community guidelines and the rules that we have, right? I don't know if from the community, do you know, or do you wanted to add what is moderation on your side? Cool. So going into the importance of moderation over here, we wanted to understand, right, why moderation and why it is very important, and what is the goal of everyone of this importance of moderation. The first one, which is fostering fostering safety, right? It's protecting users from harmful content such as harassment, hate of speech, spam, or inappropriate material. Foster respectful interactions as well, which is ensure that conversations remain civil, respectful, and promoting positive engagement. And the last one, which is engaging spaces, right? One of the most important side that I would say is that if we encourage positivity, platforms with positive environments see a 20 to 30% increase of user interaction and user engagement in the platforms. So moderation is not only a limitation, right? As sometimes might be understood, moderation is not just a limit, but these limits really foster all the positive environment and the user engagement, right? One of the most important sides of the importance of moderation is building trust. And when users feel trust, and this is a very important data, they are 40% more likely to recommend the platform to other users. So this is mainly like a school football club, when you're a kid and when you feel respected, when you have trust, you are really open to share that with your friends and inviting them into that community. So that's why it's important that each one of the communities and social media platforms and each platform could have this strong and robust moderation capabilities inside. If we go to the next slide and if we see this picture, and this I think really resembles what moderation was before, right? And I believe everyone is here to understand how, no, I mean, not understand, but I know that people knows in where we are, right, in terms of AI and how the world has changed and shifted in the last ages. And this picture really shows in 2018, before the age of AI, how was moderation, right? And I do believe, and I have some data, how everyone and moderators, it was very much manual. It was looking at every post of Meta. So they hire many companies to make this moderation. And as you can see, just to give you one example, Meta has 110,000 employees across the world, plus 40,000, hundreds of thousands external employees only for moderation, which is crazy, right? Which says that Meta, and this is a data that I found, Meta worked with at least 10 companies that works only on moderation side. One of them is Accenture, of course, this was released in the New York Times. And based on, according to the Times examination, Accenture employs more than a third of 15,000 people who works only for Facebook. And Facebook paid 500 million a year only to look for moderation, which is crazy, right? And this is how moderation was years ago. Right now, it's moving, and AI is really shifting with the different models, with the different system, how we can conceive and how we understand moderation, and how this is reducing between 20 to 30% the operational cost of these companies. Italo, do you feel, I don't know, also from the audience more than Italo, do you wanted to share some examples, or do you feel related with these kind of pictures when you think about moderation?
From my side, Luis, just to add, for example, I can think about use cases in which I know that even though the technical side is relevant for the integration, it's also important to know how the tools can be handled by the community team on the different customers. So I know that this is something to consider and that they are continuously addressing as it involves people trying to understand and manage content from different users, but also knowing the right tools that should be used at what time and how would it make the situation much better.
Totally, totally. And actually, this is a great point, because if we go to the next slide, when we're gonna see also the types of moderation that we have, and it is what you are mentioned, right? How these three combined could support this, and for example, right now what we have, before, in the previous age of AI, we have only manual moderation. There was works upon automatic moderation, but the AI moderation was empty totally, right? As I mentioned before, 40,000 employees just in Meta were working on moderation, with a cost of 500 million just for one company to moderate, and Meta has 10 more, right? So manual moderation means human moderators review the content for contextual understanding, for cultural sensitivity, so they can handle the situation, like identifying subtle forms of bullying and resolving a dispute between users, right? This is very much when a moderator is on a live video streaming, not just only posts, right? But you can see bettings, right? Betting or gaming, when you're in a football match with the football players and the football fans that are passionate, they are yelling things, right? I'm a football fan and I also have yelled things. So on that live video streaming, there are manual moderators that needs to really take care of every kind of situation. And then the question is, how does an AI can identify that, right? And we will resolve that question later on. However, the second part of the moderation, the second type of moderation is what we call automatic moderation. This it's a moderation that uses algorithms to instantly flag or block harmful content such as spam, explicit language, or prohibited media, right? This is very effective for speed and scalability. One example it is companies have integrated blacklist words, right? So if I'm a user and I use one word that it is not accepted in this automatic moderation, the system will automatically detect it and delete this kind of moderation, this kind of phrase that I did, right? This helps a lot in the past times for scaling, and actually right now is becoming also very useful for example, URLs blocking, and blacklist wordings, right? However, users are very much creative, right? Who is not using different words to say one thing? So these systems doesn't cover everything. And this is where the space of AI moderation and leveraging AI tools really goes into it, uses its like machine learning to analyze content, to analyze context, to really adapt to patterns and to make accurate moderation decisions at a scale, right? And right now we are in this place in these 2 years that AI has a boom in terms of moderation. Italo, I don't know if you wanted to share an example in these last 2 years of how being in Social Plus in terms of moderation has transitioned from the manual, or have what changes have you seen from the previous moderations that we have into the level that we have right now using AI tools?
Yeah, so as part of the growth that we have seen with AI, we also have continuously improved and also added different technologies. And some of the key parts that we have addressed are, for example, the use of tools for understanding the context, not only the words, which nowadays is really important so that the AI can help understand the context of the content that's being created, and based on that flag or block it. So this is something that we have been working directly, and with the AI, we're using also as something to sum up to our customers. Additionally, we have focused not only on text, but also on image, but to a higher degree of type of images, and also understanding different, let's say, scopes or type of an event. And besides that, we also focus on video, which is part of our, let's say, our post moderation, the moderation based on the type of video details that's being shown, which again, the AI processes the information and based on that gives a score. If the scores reaches the amount that you have defined, because we can help to define this on the part of what should be allowed or not on the scoring system from this AI, the content will be immediately blocked, or it can be also directly flagged so that your moderator, as Luis mentioned, they can go back to the initial manual moderation to review the content and say, okay, it was correctly flagged, or okay, we should delete it as this is something that might be a, let's say, an image or a video that might require a bit more of understanding besides AI. So this is something that we have been including, and not only that, the idea from the AI side is also to be able to help assess the context of the whole community, so that all of this can help moderators have a faster response time and also has a faster understanding of what's going on in the community without requiring a high amount of people and teams for doing some mechanical work that now we can solve with this type of AI and automated tools.
So if we go to the next one, and I think connecting to what Italo you're mentioning, and I think also Brendan shared a message in the chat saying we're considering this, right, the AI, I think, and how we think about it. And I think this covers the unique benefits on this slide, and we will try to explain to you for every approach. And Italo, taking your comment and taking your notes on how you saw this evolving, would you consider that only AI solves all the problems of moderation? How do you think about it?
I think that the best approach here is having like a halfway, but in the sense that let's say that the AI helps you cover a lot more of ground, and you have a team of people, a smaller one but more concise, with clear strategies and clear consistency of the content that you want your people or your users to see, so that based on once the AI covers, let's say, this high amount of ground, then your team can quickly check and see if content should be addressed, should be changed, or even, well, then engagement can also be addressed. So I would say that would be the best way or the best approach.
Perfect. So I think it's very valuable what you're mentioning, right? And if I could sum it up in the different kind of benefits that we have, I would say that manual moderation offers a lot of empathy, right? And offers a lot of ability to handle complex and context sensitive situations, right? The manual moderation as a user is a little bit slower, can we say, but at the same time, it's much sensitive in terms of the empathy and they're reading the context, right? Human moderators often are better at recognizing cultural nuances, right? Or sarcasm that, for example, an AI might need a little bit more training on that side, right? While I could say that automated moderation really excels and it's amazing in consistency and speed, but for very clear rules, right? It's special and effective for tasks like filtering spam, detecting explicit language, reducing the immediate workload for human moderators, right? So the human moderator could focus more on really specific kind of cases. And then automatic moderation could also help to reduce that blocking automatically. And then coming into the third kind of layer that will be the AI moderation, right? Which combines kind of both approaches, combine kind of the best of the both approaches of analyzing and speed and scalability, with the AI system analyzing millions of pieces of content in real time, achieving scalability, learning these kind of different phrases. However, it should be kind of all combined, right? One of an amazing data that I got it is that studies have shown that platforms implementing AI moderation can reduce content review by up to 20% and increase moderation speed by 300%. So by aligning all of this when combined, these methods really delivers the best of different worlds, right? Efficiency, empathy, and scalability. What do you think about it? Any questions also on the audience, guys?
I would say, and just to add to this, Luis, also with the facilities that AI gives us is also that before you needed to have different teams for different type of languages. Now
Mm-hmm.
with AI, we can also understand context with different type of languages by using only this type of tool. So there's a high amount of languages that are supported, and the AI will help your team understand it so that they can then address it, regardless of what's the discussion and what's the language that your users are implementing or using. So this is something awesome that also was a bit more complicated years ago, but now it's something that AI helps a lot. And as mentioned, it helps to have this sort of scalability, this high ground level cover, so that your moderators, as you mentioned, can do the job in the part of let's go to the real emphatic content and details that the community requires. So this type of job can be done by using these type of tools with the manual moderation too.
Awesome. And I think one of the points that you are mentioning right now, which it is super important, is about the importance of AI, right? But if we go to the next one and how it was not before, how this combination, right, comes into play, right? And how really integrating both of these words really achieve a great success and results. And one of the notes that we have seen in Social Plus is that AI handles can handles up to 90% of the repetitive moderation task, right? Moderation task like analyzing and combining different languages as well. One of the things with AI that you are mentioning is that Or with global companies, AI can be working with different languages. So with this, big companies do not need to hire different moderators for each kind of the language, which before was a very painful situation, very costly situation when users, if they needed to go, let's say a gaming or a betting company or a normal community wanted to go to France, they needed to hire someone from with a French speaker, right? And with these massive call centers. However, right now, this this AI can hold different languages, can help you with that. And this is connected to the second point, that it is cost reductions. We have seen that the cost reduction for companies goes from 10 to 19, and in some cases almost 30% with the post AI implementation, right? Come from decrease the reliance on really large moderation teams and really faster resolution times in the moderation side. Italo, would you like to add anything on this topic?
I would say that you have covered much of the details involving AI moderation and how manual they are, as mentioned here, a powerful combination, which in the end, I think it goes with effectiveness, not only costs but also human resources and in every sense. So I think that generally speaking, and with all the details, I think that's the key point here, to have the ability to have clear tools and also having a team with clear guidelines to make this effective can make a better approach for all these type of moderations.
Yeah, totally. And I think you have mentioned something very important, right? Which is guidelines. So we have right now seen the kind of the general between the manual, AI, more automatic moderation. And I think moderation, and you can say it in your experience, is not just about implementing, because how do you implement it, right? It's on the how as well. It's not just I will hire an AI moderation tool and then I will leave it work. How? On this case, if we go to the next slide, what we can see and what is important is how we balance user engagement and safety, right? And this is very much on how in-app communities and social media can work together, right? On the guidelines and also on how we can balance the engagement against the safety. If you can go to the next slide, please, Van. We can see that one of the most important parts that we have is community with clear moderation and guidelines report 40% fewer incidents of harmful content and 25% increase in positive user interactions, right? So while balancing engagement and safety is crucial, which we already know, it's also the how you are implementing, right? How are these guidelines? So what are the keywords that I wanted to use in automatic moderation, right? Do I really need maybe one moderator to be overseeing everything that I have on my AI and automatic moderation? Do I need my AI that I'm implementing? What are the different models that they are having? Are they supporting the language that I'm having? Are they supporting also the content, the content? Are they really understanding the context of aggressiveness? What are the topics that they are understanding? Aggressiveness, nudity, pornography. All this has to be solved and all to be has to be checked before really implementing something like AI moderation, right? And of course, one of the things is that active moderation efforts really foster inclusivity, right? With users feeling 30% more likely to contribute. And this is something very interesting because it is not only I implement the systems and then I leave it for everyone, but it is how can I empower my community? How can I empower the users so they can also moderate something? And we have seen it right now with X, as we are seeing that Meta is trying to implement this, right? How the community has the power to also work on the moderation. Hey guys, this is fake. This is not true. This is not happening. So the company needs to have also guidelines that can empower users to be part of this game of moderation. In your experience, Italo, what is the importance of educating users and having these guidelines for them?
I think it's totally important and relevant. Sometimes we do believe that a community is something that gets created and appears and it just goes on, and that's not the reality. Your users, your team also needs to get educated in the sense of which are the key topics and details and context that should be allowed and should also be used if we go even to a, let's say, to another approach, or more about growing your community or your or that environment, to see what's going to work for that community. So this is something very important and very strategic. And I think like the keyword here is the strategy that the company uses or any company can use, and also that can get translated into the community with the different users. And this can be shown in the job that's being done by the moderation. I think that's what we have seen, and it's very very relevant. If these guidelines, if these key points are pretty clear, it's going to be much more straightforward and efficient to set up the different moderation tools, the progress from the manual moderation, and then eventually to have this sort of engagement growth, which is the final outcome that I think this type of environment always is looking forward to have.
Awesome. Yes, totally. And I think if we could give to the audience practice, practical foundations, if you allow me, I could say, in order to create a safe spaces, the three main topics that we recommended is, first of all, setting clear community guidelines and educating members, right? We're working Social Plus with a company, Ulta Beauty. Maybe you know it's in the audience, is the largest retail company in the US, and they have a clear set of guidelines. Don't use aggressive languages. Please don't share any kind of pornography. Giving these guidelines to the community really empowers them and educating these members, right? The second part is appointing and empowering community admins, meaning you can have one or two moderators, but you can get also empowering influencers, not influencers, but super users, right? Users that really connects with your applications, users that really use the super users that you have. They can be part of you. You can give them some discounts, you can give it access to premium features while helping them to integrate it. One example is Noom. Noom in the fitness, what they do is they use their coaches as moderators and admins inside their own community, right? And the third one is keeping detailed records and enforcing rules consistently. Always moderation and always positive environments comes from really enforcing and maintaining consistency inside these three steps. Clear guidelines, empowering community admins, and consistency. These are the cases that we could mention over here. If we can go to the next one, which is empowerments, empower everyone. Guys, we always have mentioned it. If we go to the next one, which is enforce and keep a record, take an action, be consistent, always try to really to maintain a record of these onboarding users. And the last one, Van, is one of the things that we wanted to show here is also how and examples of how we are doing it, right? How right now going into the next section, which is covering how companies have implemented the different ways of moderation. As we have covered during this webinar, we have covered the types of moderation. We have covered AI, automatic, and manual moderation. These systems were also developed in-house with Social Plus for our internal communities. And then there are companies that have been implementing, right? Of course, the use cases depends on each one of the company. So with real world examples, we will show you two main different examples of companies implementing this into different industries. The first one, we wanted to show you Ulta Beauty on how they have successfully implemented pre-moderation to enhance user interactions. Pre-moderation of what we call it is pre-moderation before a user really sends a post, a message, an interaction. Meaning, me as a user, I'm writing something, how an automatic moderation is taking it, an AI moderation is taking it, and it's blocking, not allowing the users to trespass that limits that we have put. And the last one is Betano, right? is showing how leverage AI enhanced moderation to scale efficiently while reducing harmful content with a post moderation. Post moderation is when the message has been sent, the message has trespassed automatic moderation. What do we do? This is where our AI moderation comes into play, analyze the context, and then flags it to a moderator. On this, I don't know if you have any questions from the audience. Otherwise, we could go and I will ask Italo to really show real examples of and demo you how this works in real time.
Sure. So to begin with the case of Ulta, considering what you mentioned, Luis, and I think that this is what the audience would like to see also. In the sense of the pre-moderation side, for example, with Ulta Beauty, there has been clear details about word block listing, which are keywords that should not be allowed in your community at any moment, as well as the use of the image moderation to control or to help see sensitivity on the type of images that can be shared within the community. This is something that we have seen in several cases, and this is one of the, let's say, the best approaches that we have seen, and we can live show right now with some of the demos that we have on our side with our own technology. So let me share my screen so I can show you this direct example as we have seen in other situations. So as you can see right now in my screen, we're in a demo environment. This is based on UI from our side directly. As you can see, this represents a community feed directly. So you can try to write any type of content as if you were on Facebook or on Instagram or other type of social media. So I can say something like, hello, or let's say, good day, and so on. Now, let's imagine that we're in a context of moderation. Let's go with the first tool that we have. The first tool that we have, and it's part of the different things that consumers like Ulta Beauty has used, is the word block list. In the word block list, we add different words that you would not like your users to be able to use, and it will prevent those users from creating that type of content. How does it work? Let's do a quick example and something pretty straightforward. So from the console, which is, let's say, the backend and the admin panel that your administrators will have access and will be able to manage. Let's imagine I add something like a negative word that I would not like anybody to use as hell. So let's try to put hell directly as something that I don't want anybody to use. So let's say that I want to say hell of a day. Now, as you can see, there was a response directly saying, hey, this is a blocked word, you cannot use it. Now let's imagine if I say only hello, and I think this word is not part of our block list. Hello, perfect. So as you can see, it allowed me to use hello, but didn't was able to use hell. So this is one clear example of how you can manage and upload different types of words that you don't want your users to be able to put, and our AI and algorithm will immediately block it. This is one of the cases. Now let's go to another one, which is more, let's say, based on a bit more of details, which let's say with the images. So right now I'm having a sensitivity level in our admin panel, which is based, and I can show it to you in a pretty fast way also here, just to not take too much time. As you can see, I'm sharing here some of the details that you can handle again from our admin panel directly. And as you can see, something pretty straightforward to do. You can just manage and move the bar, and based on this, the sensitivity level for the images will change. What does this mean is that the higher this sensitivity level, this means the AI needs to be 100% sure that this image contains these details in order to, to block it or to allow it. So for example, if I'm putting 100%, this means, okay, you need to 100% sure this is a pretty, like, let's say, total nudity or sexual activity picture that also considers sexual situations. So now let's see the example here that we already have. Let's imagine I want to put a bikini picture. As you can see, it's loading. and I'm allowed to post it. The content is already ready to be created in the community. This is the part of we are putting the image. We're about to load it directly into the community environment. So I can say, I can say like, sunny days coming, something like that. Days to come. And you can see that there's no problem for me to create the content as this is allowed. This is one use case. Now let's imagine another use case. Let's go to another industry. If we go directly to the gym industry, you might have and you might face some cases in which there might be some posts, in which there might be some shirtless photos because you're talking about gyms, coaches, and this might happen. Again, this is getting allowed because our AI moderation for now has been configured to allow this type of content. But now let's imagine if I change this directly from our admin panel. And if I go and reduce the sensitivity level, let's imagine if I put something lower, 40% for the part of nudity and suggestive as you have seen before. Now let's see what happens if I try to upload the same picture relating for gym. As you can see, there was an error here uploading. This happens, again, this is something customizable based on the error you receive or the user receive. This is a technical part that this can be changed on the front end. But as you can see, the AI detected the type of images, and now that we have changed the confidence level, it's not getting allowed. So again, this depends on the industry and the use case. However, if I try, for instance, to put a family picture like this one, and you try to put it directly, it's getting allowed because it does not contain any type of detail or component that the AI analyzes and says, oh, this is having a high level or of nudity or suggestiveness and so on. And it allows me to post the content directly without any issues. These are some of the key tools that we have for pre-moderation and that Ulta has used. Another of our customers also applies for handling these type of cases. I don't know if
Thank
you
you
have any
very much.
questions.
Thank you very much, Italo. I think these
Yeah.
are very good examples. And for the audience, just to as a clarification, this is a standard UI kit that that it can be customized from Social Plus to be used inside your website or inside your application. And right now, what we're going to show is this is just for demo purposes of the moderation. As Italo was mentioning, it was an amazing example on how automatic and AI moderation can work in order to efficient and reduce the time of manual works, manual tasks, and really allow the community to thrive, right? If now, Italo, if we can move forward on two examples so users can, so the audience can see also how from this UI kit can move into a customization and how can it look like in real life and how companies can leverage this and then how they can use the moderation side. If you can demo, that could be amazing.
Let me share. I think we can go to the presentation again. This, as mentioned, is based on the UI kit. For the cases that we have, can you help me share the presentation directly? Okay, so as mentioned, Ulta Beauty, there's direct access to have placed on it. The specific guidelines are based on their what their team has managed. Let me see one access.
So, Italo, could you explain us uh, how Ulta use the pre-moderation over here? As you can see, this is already customized. Can you tell us how to use it?
Yes, I was just checking on those details. So, as you can see, and this goes hand in hand with the demo that I just showed before, there are similarities, as you mentioned. This is the UI kit. However, it has been customized based on the details that they wanted. There's a schema that's pretty similar, but as you can see, first here they have a feed. The feed has this type of word block list content. So if they put a particular type of word based on their guidelines, again, let's going back to what we discussed during the presentation and what you mentioned. Once the guidelines are clear and they set up all the words and the different things that shouldn't be allowed, all the users and also moderators are checking on this type of content. So it's getting blocked since the beginning. So there's no misalignment between what's getting created and what's going to be discussed. That's the first point that have been done and have been managed by Ulta. The second one is also regarding the image moderation. Similarly to the demo, as you can see here in the image that we have from Ulta's real environment, you will be able to add an image. Again, once the image gets uploaded, the AI will detect if it can be allowed or not into that feed, into that community, and based on that, you will have an error message. In this case, something customized based on Ulta's requirement. Again, this depends on the approach and again on the confidence level that, as I showcased before, you can manage in the admin panel. Part of our job, in the sense of what we do, is not only providing you tool, but also giving you this type of support through all the process. So we also recommend which are the type of, let's say, confidence levels based on use cases. We always recommend for you to have a test environment and do different testing. This is something unique according to each industry, as I mentioned before. But again, part of what we do is also help you understand this better and give you some recommendations on these key points. That's the second point that Ulta has also used. And the third one is based on the prehooks that we have, which is also helping to control or to moderate the details of the creation for profiles. We know that profile creation is important. So again, we have tools that help before the creation of the content is done. It helps review if it should be allowed or not. And once it's created, they have a moderation team that do the pre-moderation part. And I think that part can be seen in our admin console, admin panel, where they can see the content and based on that take action. I would say those are the specific details in general way about the moderation as a real case Ult is having. And as you have seen in our demo, this is based on the approach that we usually recommend, and we have seen a lot of support and results on different customers too.
Thank you, Italo. In terms of the next example that we would show, could you please introduce you? Maybe I can introduce Betano. Betano is part of Kaizen Gaming, one of the largest and top 6, 7 gaming platforms in the world. They work with all the football teams. They are a sponsor of the UEFA Champions League, FIFA World Cup, and also Copa Libertadores in South America, and they use our chat and the moderation. They use the chat, the live chat inside their games to really allow users to interact. Could you please explain us, Italo, how they use the AI enhanced moderation, knowing that football fans are very passionate and they wanted to always say something to the enemy?
Absolutely. So as you can see here, it's pretty straightforward the case, which is based also on languages. As you can see, this is not English, it's Portuguese. So the thing here, and as Luis is mentioning, Betano had a situation in which there were some contexts or keywords that were getting used in different languages, and they were like pretty explicit. But it's not only about the keyword, but also about the context, because sometimes when users want to bypass this type of filters, they get creative. So you need to have a higher level of understanding of what's going on. And here AI has been something very useful, as our AI helped understand the context of what's being said. And based on that, it sent a flag or deleted the content almost in real time so that moderators could recognize by the flag which content was required to be reviewed or it was immediately deleted directly. So let's imagine there was this type of discussion in which there's a soccer game and eventually there might be some discussion between football fans saying some, let's say, negative words that might address to racial details or things like that in different languages. So the AI tool was able to detect the content, the message, and based on that, immediately flag and then delete the message so that it helps manage the content and also the flow of the discussion. As you can imagine, this is something that's if you would have people checking the different channels at the same time would take you time and also would require different human resources for all of this. So with the AI, it was capable to detect this type of content in different languages and to help assist moderators about what was going on, flag the details, and also delete content as it was about to be created too. This is mainly the case for Betano, and as you can see, was mainly a chat.
Thank you very much, Italo. Thank you very much. And I think these two examples and three examples really showcase how we are powering and how our moderation capabilities really support enterprise companies in order to provide a positive communities right inside. I think based on this conversation, we have really tried to show you and to try to give you some insights that we see from the different industries, from football to fitness to really e-commerce and retail, on how companies are using and how they are really reducing costs, how they are really, why moderation is just more than limitations, right? So I hope you have enjoyed this webinar. We have another Q&A session. Please, if you have any question, feel free to write it in the chat. Feel free to raise it. We are here to help you and to answer your questions. If there are no further questions, I encourage you, if you have further questions that you would like to share with us, please contact us. You have our contact details. Luis Montalvo Kai on LinkedIn. There is Italo as well. Italo, is there anything else that you would like to add to this amazing conversation that we have had?
I would say if there is interest on these details, please not only ask, but feel free to get an appointment to see the details. As we have shown a bit on our admin panel, we have a lot of tools, and as you can imagine, it's about explaining the different processes and the details that can be used and how to be used. So just get in touch with us, and as mentioned before, the idea here is for us to provide different tools and help you make the life of your users and customers more efficient. And with AI and this type of social tools, we can help you to do so.
Thank you very much, Italo. And thank you very much also, Brendan, and the audience that was there. It's our pleasure. Please contact us. Don't forget to contact us. And we are here, Social Plus, as always, help you thriving your communities and make it a positive communities across the digital world. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Luis. Thanks.
Bye-bye.